This is the podcast overview for week 12. We'll be covering chapter 10, aggression. Here is your overview of the week. Here you do have an exam this week, exam number 5, as well as the chapter reading and then the article reading number 31, Bad Girls, and then any videos posted below. So here are your objectives for the chapter. You can click here for an overview of each of these, or I discuss each. Here's your lecture slides for chapter 10, and then article number 31, Bad Girls. That's going to go along with the discussion for this week. I've posted a few different videos. This one is called America the Rude. Check to see if you can get it. I was able to access it, but I did have a couple issues with it. So the workaround is that if you access it through the Westfield Library database, if you go to databases A to Z and you click on Films on Demand, and then you type in America the Rude, it should pull it up for you, and you'll be able to view it, but you have to be logged in to the Westfield Library homepage to do that. And then make sure you're viewing it using Chrome or Firefox. It will not work with Safari. But this video is great. It looks at sort of our culture today, one of like road rage and people with very short tempers, and how aggression and kind of rudeness really has become acceptable behavior. That we've become more and more okay with people acting in that way, and sort of what has it come to, and what's the result of that? What's the consequence? I also posted a video about aggression from Khan Academy, some basic tenets. This also mimics some of what's in the chapter this week. In terms of theories of aggression, and I love how they have one G here. I don't know if that's on purpose, but nonetheless, the video is really good. It goes over some key theories that I think will be helpful for you guys to see. Then I have a crash course video on aggression versus altruism. So this sort of pits aggression against altruism, which we talked about last week. Pro-social behavior, altruism is at the core of pro-social behavior. How is it very different from aggression, and how do we see it differently in people who act aggressively versus altruistically? And then this video deals with the 4 types of aggression, which is also mentioned in your book. So again, just really good modeling of that and showing you some extra examples to help those concepts stick a little bit. This is a What Would You Do episode called Taking on Mean Girls. So it touches on bullying behavior, which is also talked about in the chapter this week, and how to handle bullying behavior, what works, what kind of doesn't work. And it's just interesting to see live in action, sort of some of these concepts. And then lastly, this is a video I found about how kids copy our behavior, right? So word to the wise, you could tell your kids one thing, but what you do is more powerful. They're watching, and that can be good or bad. Most of you don't have kids, but one day statistics say you will. So, like the title says, beware of your impact on future generations. The things that you do, even around your siblings, your younger nieces, nephews, cousins, what have you, has a really big effect on their behavior. Okay. The discussion for this week deals with the chapter as well as the article reading, so you'll want to use both in integrating those into your answers this week for the discussion. So first, discuss this so-called liberation hypothesis. It's so called for a reason. It is a hypothesis. It's discussed in the article. So tell a little bit about that, and then develop your own list of reasons that account for the increase in female aggression in recent years. So I really want your own independent thinking here. I don't really hope not to see too much of a regurgitation of what the first few people post about. I tend to see that a lot. Whoever's posting very early in the week, I see a lot of their stuff get regurgitated in other people's posts. I don't know if that's by accident or, human nature to want to look at that before you write your own, but I would really recommend not looking at what other people post before you write your own. It will help just keep your thought original, and I love to see that. So I'd like to know, what do you think might be the reasons why female aggression has been on the rise? It really is at an all-time high. That's not a good thing. Aggression overall isn't a good thing in males or females. It has been the case for quite a while for men, and now is the case for females. What might be contributing to that? And then the article notes that women who commit the same aggressive acts as men may be less likely to be sentenced for them. What factors other than the actual crime committed might influence those sentencing decisions? So think about maybe some current females that have been in the media, who've been on trial. What did they face compared to their male counterparts? Is that fair? If we are advocating for equal rights amongst men and women, should it be equal too when it comes to sentencing for crimes committed in an aggressive or violent manner or way? And what are some of the things that influence jurors, when they're thinking about those sentencing decisions? So again, some of this is coming from the article, obviously, but there's a lot that's in the book in chapter 10 that can really help contribute to your commentary here in your answers in a very sophisticated sort of way. So please try to integrate some of that in to your responses. And then lastly, after you've watched the videos and you've done the discussion and the readings, you'll be ready for exam 5, covering chapters 9 and 10. It's 30 questions with 2 points each. Same format as before. I just really want to recommend waiting as long as you can to take this test. Give yourself plenty of time. You have until Sunday. So, just make sure that you are ready. I believe we only have one more test after this. So it's getting down to crunch time, and how you do matters. So use your time wisely. Maybe go back and look at some of those resources on multiple choice test taking if you haven't already. And definitely use Revel. That came with your e-text. Sources in there for helping you to study, and using those practice tests will be really helpful. I've looked at the number of people who have been using the practice tests, and it's not very many, although I get many emails about issues with the tests or not being prepared. And I love those emails. I hope you still email me. But, if you're feeling not prepared for the test, or like you thought you were prepared and then you didn't do so well, I would urge you to do those practice tests. Not everybody is. Less than half the class are using those practice tests. So that tells me that there are some tools available to you. You just got to be using them. And the students who use them find them very helpful, which is why I require you to have the Revel access along with your book, because I believe it's 100% helpful. So use that to your advantage for definitions, for extra examples, for quizzing, for help in that way. And of course, if you get stuck this week or just want to go over any of the concepts, Again, I'm always available to Zoom with you. I've been meeting with students all semester, talking out concepts, talking out things. So I definitely welcome that. Okay, everyone, have a good week.